Namaste, Jai Shri Ram. Welcome to
Jai-
the third edition of the Uncrossing. We have with us three very distinguished panelists who will be sharing their views on the role of the church in Indian politics and how it has now started to use the power of the state. First, I'll be giving a brief introduction of our panelists and then proceed towards the inquisition of church activity in India. The first guest that I'm going to introduce is Sri Prakasarao Velagapudi. He is the co-founder and president of Global Hindi Heritage Foundation, which he started in 2006 with a twofold purpose: free Hindu temples, and temples must be managed by Hindus only, protect, preserve, and promote Hindu Dharma. In 2020, he started Gharwapsi in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana with 20 full-time pracharaks who are visiting villages to welcome those Christians who were lured to Christianity and bring them back into the fold of Sanatana Dharma. महानुभाव, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है अनक्रॉसिंग में. My first question is to Sri Prakash Rao sir. Sir, we have seen that recently the Hindu wealth has been taken from our temple for the pleasure of the church. There was a news article a while back that temples from Hindu money is being taken to build 10 colleges in Tamil Nadu. And the same is happening in Andhra Pradesh, sir. Because now the church apparently has the power to manipulate the state using, demography, religious demography strategy. So, sir, what are your thoughts on that, and how do you think we should counter it?
It was 2006. I retired after 37 years of teaching in the university. I went to India thinking that I have finished my responsibilities for this life. I went to India. It was August 23rd, 2006 at 7:23 minutes. I was reading Enadu, and that's a Telugu paper, where I read a news item which says AP government has issued GO 21, by which Rajshekar Reddy allocated crores of rupees, unlimited number basically, for the construction of new churches and renovation of old churches. So that is what prompted me to start this Global Hindu Heritage Foundation. I went to High Court with two of my friends. I was able to stop that GO 21. Of course, you know that they know how to get around to it and all that. But anyway, so that is how we started this organization. Then I started reading about so many things all over the country, what is happening, especially Andhra. And he actually came to US in 2007, April. So we organized a protest where we had 600 people. Never, I don't think anybody was attracted that many people in the United States. We had 600 people protest and then start actually going around his hotel because they did not want to give an audience, because we prepared about a 10-page memorandum about all the concerns that we have about Andhra Pradesh. And it is available. Anybody can go and look at in the SaveTemples.org. Just memorandum to Rajshekar Reddy, so you will get it. Otherwise, I can send it later on also. And some of the things that we mentioned, finally, of course, he agreed. We met, we submitted that report. Some of the things that we mentioned in that report, and then I will move on to the present government. Just about 6-7 of them I will mention. So in 2006, 5 out of 7 Tirupati Hills, he wanted to break it up and then use it for commercial purpose, eventually give it to Christians. That was his plan. And then almost 10 to 15% of the income generated by the endowment department is being used for other religions. In Karnataka, 80% of the money is given directly to the Christians and Muslims for 10 consecutive years, whereby they closed on an average 5,000 temples in Karnataka 10 consecutive years. It's there actually, anybody can look at in the internet. And government allocated 6.5 crores just for the mosques, and then about 2 crores for the Muslims out of the money that they have generated. In Simhachalam, Christian missionaries have illegally occupied 300 acres. He allowed them to do it. Later on, he naturalized it, or they call it regularized it. So basically, it's not just Simhachalam. So in fact, Bhadrachalam also same thing. Almost all the major temples, they allowed people to encroach it with the help of some of these MLAs and MPs, and then slowly transfer it to the Christians. That is what they have done. In Simhachalam, 1,600 acres of land surrounding the temple to various Christian organizations. And then, of course, in TTD, they have demolished the 1,000 pillar mandapam of Tirupati. And then there is a charge that's saying that 85% of the TTD money is being transferred to the exchequer. We have written a letter. They never confirmed it. So we are just assuming that could be true, even though we have no way of saying it because they have not responded to our request. And then for all the prasadams at that particular time, for Tirupati, the contract was given to a Christian organization which is called JRG Wealth Management Limited. Same thing is being done now also in the present government. So he started that, Rajshekar Reddy started that one. So most of the prasadams are secured by the Christians. And of the 420,000 acres land in Visakhapatnam, so in Guntur, Kakinada, Kurnool, and all that, 60,000 acres were allocated to different organizations and then illegally occupied by different people. 60,000 acres during his regime. So this is the extent. I mean, and I can go there. If you go to my website, you will see just Rajshekar Reddy, you can put or something. You will see at least 10 articles about Christianization of Andhra Pradesh during Rajshekar Reddy as well as this Jagan Mohan Reddy. So when we come to the present government, the kind of things, so I have written at least 4 or 5 articles on this Jagan Mohan Reddy, and it was 2019 December 23rd. So I prepared almost about 10-page document about 10 different points and met the executive officer personally and talked to him about some of the concerns that we have. One first thing was there are at least 15 to 20% employees in TTD are Christians. So he never disputed that one. 4 of us went and we presented that one, saying this is what we heard, this is what we know, because we talked to so many people in different places. And he never contested it. Okay, so that means there is definitely. Then he also said, well, if you know some names, why don't you supply? So I have supplied 17 names, just only people who are working in bird hospital. You see, they fund about 3 hospitals. One of them is called Bird Hospital. And so I submitted 17 names with their names as well as the department. They never responded to that one. And in that particular, and I also mentioned about the dress code. If you look at some of those people who are working in TTD, they don't look like TTD employees. There is no uniform. They can do anything. They don't even wear tilak or botu on the forehead, but they require the pilgrims. And they have all kinds of regulations for pilgrims to attend the TTD, but they don't have any regulations of dress as far as employees are concerned. And see, during Rajshekar Reddy time, they started, in order to get around to it, they started a separate department for Christians. So it's a regular budget. So that is called Christian Minority Finance Corporation. Through this corporation, they will do almost anything, 10,000, 10 lakhs per family to the student. If any Christian student going to abroad, he will get automatically 10 lakh rupees. And all the training, everything, Jerusalem, all those things will go through this particular corporation, that is Christian Minority Finance Corporation. So if you look at some of the things that he has done over the years, especially TTD, still, as I mentioned, 15%. But December 29, 2019, I had a very big conference organized where Dr. Swami, Subramanya Swami, and Paripurna Swami attended. And we mentioned this one, whereas Dr. Subramanya Swami, which we know him for almost 20 years, we worked closely. He mentioned in the meeting he has no evidence of any Christian working in TTD, which was surprising. We have been advocating, we have been giving all the information to him, but all of a sudden he comes to that meeting and say there is no Christian working in it. So we asked him, where did you get this information? Did somebody give you, or did you investigate? Can you provide that information? He never provided that information. I have written actually a letter to him, which you can access it in my SaveTemples thing. So three things that he lied. Okay, one, there is no Christian working in TTD, which is false. Then he also said two things later on in the interview. There are 44 people working in TTD who are Christians identified. They all identified. Okay, he said all these 44 Christians were employed by Chandrababu Naidu because he was so against him for whatever reason. So that was completely false. I looked at it from 1989 through 2000. 44 temple employees were employed, Christians were employed. Only three people were employed during Chandrababu Naidu time. Rest of them were employed over the years. So when he says all 44 were employed by Chandrababu Naidu, such a false outright statement. And he gives an untrue picture. And then he also says, in fact, Jagan Mohan Reddy is trying to see that he will transfer all these people to other departments. So that way, TTD will be safe, which is also false because the people who are identified, these 44 people, when Chandrababu Naidu wanted to transfer them to other departments, they went to High Court and got a stay order. When you have a stay order, there is nobody who can say, I'm trying to transfer them to some other department, which is false. So these three things, Dr. Swami lied. I wrote a letter. You can access it. So what is happening? Everybody, the politicians nowadays, whether it is even Hindus, probably are more corrupt than some of these people. In fact, we may be the ones who are going to destroy our culture more than the Christians and Muslims. So we have to be cognizant. But at the same time, they are playing their devil game, and we want to make sure at least these Hindus would not be part of it, so that way we can increase our population. And then, if you look at in the same way, Subbareddy, chairman. So everybody says, even Dr. Swami vouch, saying that he is a Pakka Hindu. He is the only Hindu, all kinds of things. If you remember anyone, he announced about a month ago, probably 4 months ago, it is Allah, Jesus, they are the ones who are protecting. And so he made a statement like that one. I wrote a letter. He never responded it. You can read that letter, the exact quotation that he used. All that one is there in the SaveTemples, my letter. The video also, I attached it. So we don't know whether he is a Christian or Muslim, along with all the others. Okay, so he is playing his game. So and then everybody, any non-Hindu who is supposed to go to TTD, they have to sign a document saying that he belongs to so and so religion. Still, I have respect for Balaji, so I want to enter. Even Abdul Kalam, they did not even ask him to sign that one because he was a president, but he knew the rule. He said, "You bring that sheet. I want to sign saying I am a Muslim, but I respect." Even though they did not ask him, he volunteered. Whereas Jagan Mohan Reddy, he wanted to scrap this one. So when he went last year, so they just scratched this whole requirement. Now there is no such thing. Anybody can go, whether they can abuse it, whether they can do whatever they have to do. And so now the permission is given to that one. In the same way, there are two MLAs who tried to compare Balaji with Jesus and implying Jesus is more than that one. And then Guntur collector, I said, some of you probably know, he says, it because of his religion, because of Jagan Mohan Reddy, Christianity is the one that provided him the opportunity to be a collector, and he is going to give so many opportunities for all the Christians and all that. So, like this one, I mean, anybody who criticizes Jagan Mohan Reddy now, nobody is spared. Raghu Ramakrishna Raju, who was an MP, on his birthday, they sent 30 people to arrest him, put him in jail, and beat him up. You can see his legs and all that were stolen. In the same way, the first I came to know about 1.5 years ago, Vishnuvardhan Reddy, he just only once he mentioned his name, Jagannath Reddy. Jagannath Reddy, why you are doing this one? Why you want to do? Why don't you just be fair to every religion and all that? Within 24 hours, he was arrested in Telangana and brought to Chittor and put him in jail, non-bailable. If it is non-bailable, you know how much money it would cost and how long it will take. It took more than 2.5 months for him to get out of, and crores of rupees cost him. So, like this one, I'm sure that thousands of people are in jail at this particular time. That's the reason nobody wants to open their mouth against Rajshekar Reddy. So, I have also written an article which you can probably look at it. Christianization of Andhra, that is one. The Gharwapsi is the one that we started in sometime in July. We have 20 pracharaks because I have come to realize I have written at least 7, 8 books. So many people write books. We all keep on discussing endlessly in this WhatsApp and whatnot. Okay. And so we also listen to pravachanams. Everybody's pravachan, and they give a lot of beautiful things. We build temples. We do worship services. Okay. If we are doing all these things, why is it our population is decreasing? Just think about it. We have doing all these things. Why? So that means there is some disconnect. There is some disconnect going on which we are not able to figure out. With all the things, we should increase the Hindu population, whereas now it is declining. So I said, this is unreal. So that is how we came to realize that I think groundwork is the most important thing. That is how we started this Gharwapsi. And I think, please, I request all of you to go and have a look at our SaveTemples website. For the last 8 or 9 months, I'm updating every day because I cannot update all 20 pracharaks, but at least one location per day. I'm updating what they are doing, what they are talking. And we also prepared um, two documents. One is 4-page documents about what are the rights of Hindus and how they can protect, and then what are the privileges a Christian would lose if they become Christians. So that is one. 52-page book comparing Bhagavad Gita and Bible. I think this one is creating a lot of actually commotion in the villages. So 40, 45 verses we have taken from the Bible, I mean, they are so nasty. You can't even read those statements. And we are telling all the Hindus, please read this one. If any Christian comes, ask them these questions. And so that way they know. And pastors are walking away from that book rather than answering that one. Now, in Mysore, so we have Sri Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji, probably some of you may have heard. He's a successor, Balaswami. He read this book. Immediately, he know what I have been doing, but he never openly talked about it. So he announced that he is going to get it translated into Kannada. Some of you probably heard of Vellore, Golden Temple. So the Pitadipati is called Amma, even though he is a man. Usually he is referred to as Amma because they believe he is the incarnation of the Devi. So that's the reason they call him Amma. So we have good contacts with most of the Swamijis, but this Swamiji also. So he looked at our website. Once in a while he looks at it. He was so impressed. So he looked at this book. Immediately he asked this book to be translated into Tamil. Okay, so it is going in the same way. We're also it is Telugu now. English version is ready. It should go for printing in another 1 or 2 days. And in Hindi also we are planning to translate that one. And so that way it is going into different languages. I think if we can distribute this book to as many Hindus as possible, just like the way these people distribute the Bible to everybody in the community, I think our problem can be solved. At least half the problem could be solved. So with that one, I don't want to take too much time. Everybody is here, but thank you for the opportunity. I'm glad that I want to thank the organizers for conducting this one, and I'm sure that it is going to be very successful. Thank you so much.
Prakash Rauji, thank you very much. It was our bhagyam to hear you speak, give some startling data, verifiable data to the public. And I hope that once this book is published in English,